Blessed be, guys. Welcome to my sacred space. So today I wanted to take part in the popular tag that's going around the Witchy and Tarot community. Hashtag 13 Witchy questions just for fun. So that does sound like a lot of fun. The original tag came from Denise over at Whispers for Three, and I actually was not aware of her page until I found this tag on some of the other people that I follow. And so I went on over to her page, her channel, and checked her out, and she's really cool. So I will link her video on this tag in the description. So let's just get started. So number one, the first question just for fun is, are you in or out of the broom closet? This is a tricky one for me. I live in a very rural area in the Bible Belt, and even though I'm a Christian witch, the people around me would not understand how I'm able to mesh the two, and I would be judged. And as a pre-K teacher, it just wouldn't be looked at in the light that I would wish it to be, and I would be prejudged. So the people in my community, my coworkers, professionally like that, I do kind of keep it under wraps. Like, they know I'm quirky, they know I collect crystals and rocks, and I'm always taking pictures of like fairy holes in trees and things like that, and they just think I'm mystical and quirky and perfect for pre-K, with all my fun magic stuff. But they don't know, that my grandmother was a witch, that I'm a hereditary witch, and that I do practice witchcraft. And so there's a handful of people that I know and trust in my community who know. I actually work in another town, so that's how I'm able to kind of keep that compartmentalized. But if they come to my home, they're going to see my besoms and my pentagrams and all my witchiness, my altars everywhere, so they would just know. But I'm kind of a introvert anyway, so I don't have a lot of company other than like my coven members and my other witchy friends, so that's cool. However, I do have a YouTube channel, and I do have an Instagram. I don't put my witchcraft on Facebook other than in a very secret group with just a few trustworthy people. And I put my face on YouTube. However, like, I use the witchy tags and things like that, and so I feel pretty confident that no one from that circle would find me. But if they do, I'm not embarrassed, I'm not ashamed. I am able to back up what I do from the heart and soul. And so one day I feel like it will come out in the open, and I'm hoping that it will be received in good light, because my witchcraft is a form of love. Like, it is all about goodness and hope and good things, so it's nothing that I would have to be ashamed of. So yes, in some respects I am in the broom closet, but I'm working on infusing every aspect of my life with my magic in one way or another. So in that regard, I'm just totally open. So like I said, it's a gray area for sure. All right, number two is, what is your favorite tree? And that's a hard one because I love all trees. I'm learning to love the pine tree. I live in central Louisiana. We are inundated with pine trees everywhere, but I'm originally from New Mexico, where I could see the sky to horizon to horizon, and the sunrises and sunsets out there are glorious, and there's no trees. So when I moved here as a teenager, again, like I grew up here, then we moved back to New Mexico, then we moved back here, and the second time we moved back to Louisiana, I hated it. I felt like all the trees were suffocating me, and you couldn't see the sky unless you looked straight up, and it probably took me a good 12 years to love central Louisiana and its beauty, and all the trees. So I'm trying to incorporate like pine cones, their protection magic, and like I make besoms out of the pine needles that I find that are still attached to the sticks. So I'm working on that. I'm working on trying to love pine trees because I might as well. They're surrounding me, and I don't feel as claustrophobic anymore, just because I'm used to it now. I think if I went back out to New Mexico and did not have the trees, I would probably feel exposed and vulnerable, unfortunately, because I do miss the sky. But I think it would be overbearing to me. That's what a lot of people who aren't from like the more desert regions, they say the sky is just overbearing to them. So you work with what you're used to. But so I'm trying to love pine trees, but I don't yet, but I'm working on it. I'm thankful for them. But I have to say that the most beautiful tree to me, like I found the crepe myrtle and everything, and its beautiful petals and everything, and I found out it has a lot of great uses in magic, and that's so cool. So that's definitely one of my favorites. But the willow tree, like I've only, I think in real life, only seen 2 willow trees. But I just love, like I want to crawl under them, and they're, I don't know, are they like the branches? Yeah, they hang down, and it's like a little secret fairy realm, like a secret hideaway. Like my friend growing up, she had one in her yard, and I always wanted to play under there. She didn't want to because she was afraid there would be snakes or whatever, but I was just all about it, and I would just want to crawl under there and just lay down and relax and pretend like I was a fairy. And I think somewhere I read, like, I don't know if it was maybe when I was studying like the Celtic trees, like isn't the Celtics like they use the tree for their maybe their moons, or their zodiac, or I don't know. I'm gonna have to research that some more. It's really interesting though, their love of trees. And I think I read that the Pisces, their associated tree is the willow, and I'm a Pisces, so I really resonated with that. That was exciting. And so my goal is to one day have a willow wand. So we'll see about that. We'll see how that goes. What you seek is also seeking you. So it's out there somewhere. It'll come to me when the time is right. But moving on, number 3, what is your favorite symbol, magical symbol, or sigil? And I would have to say, like, I always wanted the gift of healing. Like my mom, and I've talked about her so much. She has so many, like, I feel like she's a natural witch. If a person could be born a witch, which we're really not, we choose to follow the path, but everybody has gifts and everything just naturally. But when my mom lays her hand on you and touches you, you feel like this gentle, peaceful energy, and like I feel like she has the gift of healing through her touch, because her touch is so magical. And I always wanted that, and I always just loved her for that, and respected her for that. And I've always wanted the gift of healing, but it wasn't something that came naturally to me like it did my mom. And so I finally realized, if you want a spiritual gift or a magical gift, ask for it, and then practice it and use it and show gratitude, and in the Bible, you know, it says, ask and you shall receive. So finally one day, as a Pisces, I love doing water rituals. So I do a lot of my magic in the bath. So I drew me a nice warm bubble bath, and I had my crystals and my candles, and I just prayed and I meditated and I asked for the gift of healing. And it was a whole process, like I did. And I feel like the gift of healing was bestowed on me, and I kept seeing during my ritual, it was the infinity symbol. And I know it's a really trendy, kind of popular symbol now, but I cannot explain to you the power that I felt attached to that symbol during this ritual. And I finally realized, oh my gosh, this is a gift. This is the like the manifestation, like the singularity between the spiritual gift and how I can turn that energy into physical manifestation. And so I've processed through it, and I realized that my gift of healing was given to me in such a way that I can create the infinity symbol, and that is how my healing magic will be manifested. So anytime like I'm going to do any kind of healing, like it's automatically like I close my eyes and I see the symbol like burned into my retinas. It's there, like that gift of healing that I wanted and I asked for, it was given to me, and it was made such a part of my essence. And it was just the most profound ritual. It was beautiful. It was really beautiful. And so that symbol, as simple as it is, like it holds new meaning to me. So I use it. That's my magical symbol. I use it in magic. I use it to send healing, like from far away or close up. Like when my dog was hurt, I just did my symbol over him and meditated and sent him that energy. So that is my story about my magical symbol. But I do also, I love making sigils of any kind. My neighbor is cleaning his vines off the fence. If you hear my dogs barking, my dog does not like him taking our vines. Like, we own the vines. So anyway, my videos are usually infused with dog barking, so I hope you love it. All right, let's move on to number 4. Do you prefer the full or the new moon? Now, I love all of the moon cycles. They all have their special properties and associations and gifts and magic and things you can do during that phase. And when you begin to align your life with the phases of the moon, like it just brings a new sense of productivity. And of course, I love charging my things in the full moon, and I love the way the light of the full moon casts onto the ground at night. Like I have dreams about that, and I always have. Even as a kid, I would dream of like the full moon light, and just the way it shone down on buildings and trees. Like that's so magical to me. I can't say that I love it the most, but it's super profound to me. And all the things you can do during the full moon. But I'm gonna say that my personal favorite right now in this phase of my life is the new moon. Not really so much for the new moon properties, but because when I first started researching moon phases and what they're about, what they're for, I learned that a lot of witches don't honor or acknowledge or celebrate or work with the dark moon, which is the period like just the day before or the period just before the new moon, when the moon is absolutely completely dark and black and you're not supposed to do any magical workings. It's like a time of rest and reflection. But then when I was studying my death oil, you can do your death oil on the dark moon, things like that. And it's like the time, it's like death just before the new rebirth. And to me, that is a magical time, like, because rest and relaxation and retirement, it's like the retirement before, you know, you're reborn. To me, that's so beautiful and that's so magical, and it's vital. Like, people who don't work with that energy, I feel like they're really missing out. So I really definitely recommend, you know, you have your dark moon phase and then you go into the new moon. A lot of people lump them up together as if the dark moon is the same as the new moon. Well, it's kind of during the same phase, but the dark moon has its own energy and I love it. In fact, I think I'm going to start working on a video about just the dark moon because it's powerful. So that is my winding kind of way to get to the answer for that question. Let's see. I had to get out my little roomy notebook because I thought I had some information written down in it about the dark moon specifically. So I have here, I don't know if you can see, the lighting's not great in this corner, but I have just a little bit of information about dark moon magic. Okay, so it says this is a time for gray witchcraft, like my death oil. This is a time for shadow work, like reflection, death and necromancy, destructive magic. Honor the crone at this time. That is so beautiful to me. Oh my goodness. I'm loving the crone energy, and I am so looking forward to becoming that wise old crone. To me, that's so beautiful, and it's something you have to earn. So maybe that's why I'm all about the dark moon phase. It's a time to honor the crone, perfect time for warding and banishing. It's really the time for introspection and divination. So although it's recommended not to do a lot of magical workings and everything, because of the dark aspect, it is a good time for dark witchcraft if you do it, or if you dabble in the gray like I do, just a little bit of death oil. And let me say, the death oil is not to bring an actual physical death to anything. It's to bring a natural ending to something. Like, if you're going through something at work and you just need it to stop, you can use the death oil to anoint a candle or something to kind of help bring something that is going to eventually end anyway, because all things begin and end. It's just part of the flow, even though they don't. Just to bring it to its natural end quicker. So anyway, that is my take on full or new moon. Let's say dark. So moving on to number 5. If I was going to be famous for something, what would it be? Let me just say off the top of my head, like, I do my YouTube videos, and some of them I notice get more views and more likes than others. And I'm noticing a trend, like I'm doing like my Power Animal series and all of that, because I am an extreme animal lover. I love animals. Animals are my life. But unfortunately, my animal videos don't get as many likes as some of my other videos. So if I could wish to be famous for something, I would really love to be famous for like how I incorporate animals into my witchcraft. That would be what I would love to be famous for. But in reality, I don't know, like, all I can think as far as fame is like my YouTube videos, because it's really the only thing I do out in the world that I could even say that I have a chance of being famous for. So in regard to that, my YouTube channel, I don't know, my crafts, how I incorporate crafts into magic, they seem to do really well. So I think I could be considered famous for that in my little group of subscribers that I have. I would love for my videos to be more well known and touch more people's lives and inspire their magic. And so my craftiness, it's also something I would like to be better at. So that's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say craftiness in witchcraft is something I could be famous for. Maybe. Who knows? I'm not really famous. I don't really think I'm ever going to be. And I'm not aspiring to be. I just want to touch people's lives in whatever capacity I'm able to do that. And I'm happy with each of my subscribers and anyone who views any of my videos. Thank you for spending time with me. So moving on, number 6, what is the first crystal that I ever got? Ooh, this is a good one. Hold on, I'm gonna pause it. I have to go get something I have to show you and tell you the funniest story about my mom. Hold on, back. So I have a story to tell you. When I was 6, my mom married my stepdad, and they went to Arkansas for their honeymoon, and I don't know what all they did there. They did some cool stuff, but you know, they have so many crystal mines and everything in Arkansas. And so my mom brought me back all these crystals that she got up there. And she was so proud, and they were beautiful. Like, I had pink ones and blue ones and green ones and clear ones. And like, I grew up like playing with them, and I thought they were so magical and fun and everything. And I just kind of lost track of them as an adult. And I don't know what happened to them. But now, as someone who collects crystals and loves crystals and studies and researches crystals, I realize, my poor mama, they are not crystals. They are the dyed glass. And this is not one that she had given me as a child, because I think I lost all mine. Let me get closer. But this is one that she had kept for herself because her favorite color is green. And she gave this to me just a couple years, or maybe even like a year ago, when she kind of found out I was following this witchy path and collecting crystals. She's like, here, remember all those crystals I brought you for my honeymoon? I have one. And I knew, oh no, it came back to me. I'm like, oh, these are not crystals, Mama, they're glass. And I tried telling her, and she's like, no, they're crystals. So she got them like on the side of the road on a roadside stand. But like, you can see, like, they have bubbles in them from when the glass was made. So I know, and you know, that they are glass. But for my mommy's heart, if she believes they're crystals, we're gonna let her think they are crystals. Because it's the thought that counts. And even glass, I mean, it comes from nature. It's made out of sand. It still has its own type of magic. And this is a precious memory from my childhood. So I guess in some respects I can say this is the first crystal I ever got, even though it's not a crystal. It's sand a crystal? I don't even know, whatever. But it's precious to me, and it's a cute little story. And really, like, my whole path to witchcraft came to me because of crystals. Like, I made this wall hanging, and I was like, oh, that just looks beautiful if I could just put a crystal on it. But like, I grew up, my mom would say you have to be careful with crystals because they can house demons, you know. Full gospel, non-denominational Christian upbringing. So, and I did actually have like a prism on a dragon stand growing up, and I really do feel like it had some bad energy associated with it. It made everyone uncomfortable who passed it, and I finally got rid of it. So yeah, maybe there's some truth to that, who knows. But I was like, when I made that wall hanging, and I was like, I just want to put a crystal, but I don't want a demon in my house, you know. But it just kept nagging on me, like it would be so much prettier if I could put a crystal on it. So I began like studying crystals and like, okay, can they really hold demons? So then that's when I realized, you know, that hey, crystals actually have some pretty cool properties. And they can be used for healing and everything. So one thing led to another, and bam, a year and 2 months later, here I am, a full-fledged witch. Who knew? So anyway, that is my story. Like, but I don't know. I think I got a clear quartz to put on that wall hanging. And I just started. It's like a tattoo or a Pringles. Once you eat one, get one, you just have to keep going. You can't stop. So I couldn't even tell you how many crystals I have now. So let's see. Let me get my notebook back and move on, because I get off on a tangent with these. And we're only on number 7 now. So number 7 is, what is your favorite bug or critter? And it's so funny because I found this tag from my dude, the Conjurer's Table, and originally, and I watched his, and he's like, oh, bugs are the devil, critters, you know, I don't love them, I hate them, I wish the earth could be rid of them. And me over here, the nerd that I am, I'm like, oh my gosh, I love them all. How could I pick just one? You know, I think I would have to say the only bug that I really don't love is just regular, like house roaches, like wood roaches, any kind of normal roach. They gross me out. Ew. But I respect them. I mean, they've lived for millions of years, and you can't hardly kill them. They're amazing, even as disgusting as they are. But I would have to say that is the only bug that I really think is disgusting. And I say normal house roaches because I actually have 3 Madagascar hissing roaches. They're our class pets. And I don't really view them as roaches. Like, to me, they're more like beetles, because they don't have wings. They don't have those thin, creepy shells. Like, their shells are more like beetles, and I won't like pick them up, but I don't mind touching them. Now, if a regular roach touches me, I would have to like obsessively wash, because they gross me out. But I love, like, you don't kill a spider around me. I love spiders. I love worms. I love everything. Now, I might still girl out and wimp out if one touches me. I don't want them touching me, but I can admire the beauty of them. And a lot of that, like, I don't want a bug touching me, is more not so much that I think they're nasty, but that I'm afraid I'm going to react and hurt them. So, like, I don't touch frogs or anything like that, and I don't let my students pick up bugs or lizards or anything, because I'm afraid they're going to get hurt. Not because I'm afraid. They're gross, you know. So, but I actually, my coven sister, I had a beautiful Texas brown tarantula, and her name is Ursula, and she was a class pet. But then my very traditional old school principal, I'm a pre-K teacher, she recommended, the kids, you know, we don't want to scare them. Well, the kids loved Ursula, and she only ate 1 cricket a month, so she was super easy to feed and take care of. But after my principal said that, I realized, hey, it's kind of a bother to go and get 20 miles away to the next largest town and get 1 cricket, because I don't want to get one out of the wild and it have mites or something and infect her, and I don't want to get one from the bait stores because they could have mites. And so it was really a bother to go all the way into town to one of the pet stores and just buy 1 cricket. They always look at me weird. And so my coven sister, she homeschools, and so I passed my sweet tarantula over to her, so, you know, she could take care of her and her kids could learn about it. But I really miss my tarantula. And even her, like, as much as I loved Ursula, like, I still wouldn't touch her, because they do bite, like, and they're not poisonous. the Texas brown tarantulas. But like if you're allergic to bee stings, you have a good chance of maybe being allergic to them, which I don't think I'm allergic. I'm not allergic to bee stings, but still, I don't want her biting me. And I just have that thing. I don't really like touching bugs, but I love them and can appreciate their beauty. So I do miss my tarantula, and I do love all bugs. And I don't really kill bugs in my house, other than regular roaches. So anyway, I can't imagine like a witch not loving bugs though. I mean, they're so witchy. I don't know. Maybe I'm a nerd. Anyway, so number 8 is, do you prefer Salem or New Orleans? And do you have any experience with either of those cities? I have never been to Salem. I do want to go maybe one day, but it's not at the top of my bucket list. But I do live in Louisiana, and I have been to New Orleans many times, and I want so much to really take a tour of the more occult side of New Orleans. Like, the cemeteries there are amazing, and Marie Laveau, I believe, is buried there. And of course, New Orleans has its history of voodoo and hoodoo, and there's like, I don't know, there is something so powerfully magical about New Orleans. Like, the magic is thick in the air. Like, there's spirits, and you know, there's good ones and bad ones, but you just feel it. It's like a celebration of the other side. Like, you could be like the most mainstream, mundane person who does not even acknowledge the occult, and you're gonna feel something powerful in New Orleans. And I don't know if Salem has that type of feel in its own way. If you feel the power, I don't know. I want to go, I guess, and find out and compare it. I just think the two cities have their own histories and traditions and cultures and their own spirits that are attached to it. And so I don't know. My only experience is with New Orleans, and I love it. And it's just a beautiful place. So let's move on. Number 9, who is the first like witchy or tarot YouTuber that I started watching? I've watched so many, but just a few stick out in my mind. I'm going to start in the very beginning though, so you can kind of see my progression. So I was thinking about the use of psilocybin and mind-altering drugs, like maybe to have spiritual encounters and awakenings and stuff. I was just studying it as a teacher. You know, I don't partake in any of that. Not that I judge against it. I'm all for it. And who's to say that one day, once I retire from teaching, on my bucket list is to go to an ayahuasca retreat. And I think that's what I was originally studying, was ayahuasca. But in that search, it led me to Dakota Went. Back when his channel was Dakota Went. And he's not witch or anything like that by any means, but he does a lot of videos about like hallucinogens and Eastern religion and things like that, and I just became obsessed with his videos. Like, he's the one who really got me on the path I'm on today, even though it's not even the same path, but he just inspired me, and I still watch his videos today. Now he does like his People of Earth blog and everything, and I'll link all that in the descriptions below, but he's amazing. Oh, it's train song time. When the train goes by, my dogs always sing. We always stop what we're doing and listen to the train song. but my dogs won't do it if they know humans are watching. We can peek out the window and they'll stop, like you heard nothing. It's only for dogs' ears. Anyway, so, but Dakota Went kind of got me, like, into that in YouTube, and then I started, like, branching out, and I was struggling, like, at that time, how to blend my Christianity and, you know, but respecting, like, Buddha and Hinduism and all of that, and the Eastern religions just seem to have so much truth. And that's when I realized, like, omnism, like, no one religion has all the answers or knows all the truth, but there is truth in each religion. And really, like, I found so many similarities between the Eastern religions and the truth of Christianity. Not the lies the churches tells, but the actual truth of God, as I see it. And so I started branching out from there, and I was still, like, thinking about the witchy path and everything, and trying to blend all that and just taking in all this information and finding what resonates. And then I came upon spirit science, and it is the cutest. Like, I'm a pre-K teacher, so I love cartoons anyway, and so spirit science is like this cute cartoon that, like, talks about all these great mysteries and sacred geometry, and oh my gosh, I had such a spirit science phase. Like, I was obsessed. And so and I still love them. I think I've watched all of their videos, and I highly recommend, if for nothing else than just to make you think. You might not agree with everything they talk about, but they do have some really good information, and it does make you, it's something to ponder, you know. So from spirit science, then I just kind of started thinking about the metaphysical sides of Christianity and wanting to learn more. I'm trying to get that shadow off of me. There we go. Trying to learn more about the mystical and metaphysical side of things. And that led me to, like, oh man, I don't even remember, like, Jessie Huntenberg. Oh my gosh, I love her. And of course, the only one that really pops in my mind right now is Jen the Taxidermy Witch, because I'm still in my Jen the Taxidermy Witch obsession phase, and now that we're friends, I don't think I'm ever going to get out of that phase. So when I say YouTube, I think Jen the Taxidermy Witch, but I do still really love Jessie Huntenberg, and I know there's others, and maybe it'll come to me when I edit this video, maybe not, I don't know, or maybe I can add it to the description later. But definitely check out Dakota Went, Spirit Science, Jessie Huntenberg, and Jen the Taxidermy Witch. Those are definitely my favorites, even though only 2 of them are witches. So all right, that's it. Let's move on. So, number 10, in your tarot practice, do you prefer spreads or freeform? I am still very much a student of tarot. I'm still working on being able, like, I want to know the history. Like, I have a friend who got into tarot using only intuition, and that's so cool. Like, yes, if you're able to do that, but for any new practice that I take up, I do want to research. I do want to learn about the history, and I don't think you have to, like, memorize all, 78 cards and their meanings and the history of them and everything, but I think it does help to kind of have an idea, and then use your intuition. And I haven't really found a balance in that yet, and I don't really work with tarot super often. I'm going to be honest, it intimidates me because I want to do it justice. But I'm still working on telling myself that it's okay to just use intuition. I don't plan to ever do tarot professionally. I've done readings for myself and my family and close friends, but I don't have a goal to ever do it for pay or professionally. So I need to relax about it. But until I do, I like the spreads. I have a lot of spreads that I've made just to kind of give me a guide and kind of know what's what. And then, of course, I borrow a lot of spreads and everything, and it's just a good place to start. And hopefully one day, maybe 20 years in the future, I'll be able to go more off just my own intuition and be totally free form, and that'll be great. But until then, I'm a student and I'm learning. So that's my thoughts on that. Let's move right on. Number 11. Is there a particular ritual or routine that you like to do before doing a tarot reading? I have my rosemary aura cleanser, and I spray it on my hands, and I rub my hands together to really get the energy going. And I got this from Jen the Taxidermy Witch. Clap 3 times to kind of get the attention of if you have spirit guides or me with my angels, that kind of thing. And I get my crystals that have been charged under the full moon. I get them around, and I just say a prayer of protection. And I use my tarot for intuition. So a lot of times I'll meditate to really get the question that I have or the subject that I may be working with, to get it fresh on my mind and to kind of let my cards know what we're working with, what we're doing. So that's my take. It's super simple. It's nothing fancy. I don't stand on ritual a lot. I like to keep my magic pretty simple, quick and to the point. But I do protect. I do, and I would recommend protection. Visualize that white light, man. It'll keep you safe. It won't do you wrong. So that's all I do, really. And I'd love to hear what y'all do. So keep this tag going. This is fun. So number 12, do I prefer day or night? Oh my gosh, I love the night. I love that. I don't know who said the quote, but I've loved the stars too dearly to ever be fearful of the night. That's how I feel like. And I used to be such a night owl. When I was younger, I would stay up all night. And I mean, the night is just magic. It's where you feel in touch with the mystery and the mystical side of things. And it's where you can dream, and the veil seems thinner between the waking reality and the dream world or the spirit world. And it's just beautiful, and I love being outside at night. But y'all, I'm a teacher. I have to get up so early, and I work with children, and it's lovely, but it's exhausting, and it drains my energy. And I'm sad to say that my bedtime is at the very latest 8:30. If I don't get in bed by 8:30, I cannot function the next day. And I have to spend my weekends doing that too, because I mean, it's the routine that I've created for myself, and I'm just exhausted all the time as I get older and I work and everything. And it's so hard because my coven sisters, we want to stay out all night on the full moon and celebrate, and I'm like, yeah, that's fun and all, but this old teacher has to be in bed by 8 and the moon isn't hardly out at that time. And so it's been really hard to reconcile my love of the moon and my love of the night with being an old fuddy-dud teacher. So I'm hoping when I retire from teaching, I'm not too old to still start staying up late again. But don't you, as you age, you sleep less? So maybe I'll have insomnia. I don't know. I'm not hoping for that. But anyway, if I had my preference, if I could live my life the way I would love to, I would just stay up all night and sleep all day, because I know the sun gives us power and energy and everything, and it has its good parts, but God, the moon is just so magical, and she speaks to my soul. So definitely night, even though I can't enjoy it at this phase of my life the way I want to. Night. So the last one, number 13, are you left-handed, right-handed, or ambidextrous? I don't feel like this is a very long mystical one because I'm right-handed. I use my magical tools with my right hand, my wand, everything. Now, my husband and my kid are both left-handed. Actually, my kid, I think, is kind of ambidextrous. Some things he uses right for, but mostly left. And I just feel like being left-handed must be so cool and mystical, and I'm just an old right-handed fuddy-duddy. But anyway, this has been a really fun tag, and I want to keep it going. So, it is hashtag 13 witchy questions just for fun, and it is super fun, and I would love to hear your 13 responses. So definitely check out Denise at Whispers for 3. She's the one that created the tag, and so I will link her in the description below. Thanks for hanging out with me. Blessed be. Bye.